there, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Hillary. In today's vlog, we're gonna have a little bit of a productivity day. I've already got some things in the laundry. I need to work on some gifts for people, and I'm gonna be reading The Road of Tender Hearts for one of my book club groups. Happy new episode of Heated Rivalry Day. I am so excited. People are coming over tonight to watch it, and I am staying off social media because I accidentally opened up Instagram this morning, and Kiera Lewis, I love her, but she spoils everything immediately. So I had to quickly get out of Instagram, and I've been avoiding social media like Threads and Instagram all day because I just want to, even though I know what happens in the books, I just want to experience it for the first time fully through when I watch it later. So people are going to come over tonight. I've got some themed-ish snacks, so I'll definitely show you all of that once I have it out. But yeah, today's my day off work, so really just gonna be getting a bunch of things done. And honestly, I just wanna read. It took me 6 or so days to read Dawn of Chaos and Fury, and so I'm just ready to dive into something that is very different, that is so not the same book. I have a lot of books that I'm reading for book clubs this month, and the book club meetings are quickly approaching, so I really have to get on it. Today is my day off work, so I am just in my cozies and we'll be doing things around the house today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoy this video. Look at my sweater. I love it so much. Hollander 24, Rosenab 81. It came just in time for the watch party. Oh my god, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. People are gonna be coming over in a little over an hour. I'm gonna start setting up some snacks in a little bit and just kind of getting ready for people to come over. I'm so excited. I've stayed off Instagram most of the day because I don't even want to know. Even though I know what happens in the books, I just don't want to know. I want to be surprised in the moment when I'm watching the episode. So I'm getting so excited. Here we go. Before I settle in for the night, I just wanted to get on here and share some of my thoughts and reactions to episode 4 of Heated Rivalry. So people did end up coming over for a watch party. I had some punny snacks available for everybody, and there were about 5 of us tonight, so still a good group of people. I will say my immediate feeling when the episode ended was kind of like, okay, I liked that. It stuck very true to the book, so there weren't really many surprises, but I was like wishing there was more. Honestly, I wish every episode was longer because I'm obsessed with them and I just want more. Afterwards, I just kind of like sat with it for a little while, and the more I think about it, the more obsessed I am because, like, for example, we were starting to notice Shane be more confident and be taking more control in certain situations with Ilya, and Ilya letting Shane take control. Like, the spicy scenes in this episode were not there just for spice. There was so much happening in those spice scenes to show their growth and their dynamic changing over time, right? Because this storyline is taking place over years. I believe the episode ended in 2016, which I think is 8 years after they met. And of course, I loved that Ilya just knew that he drank ginger ale and had the ginger ale ready for him. I loved the mention of the tuna melt just because it was in the book, and you know, that made my book reader heart happy. I loved at the end when Shane was dancing with Rose at the club and Ilya was watching. He was so jealous, and even though he was with a woman on the dance floor, he ended up going home alone. And so I really love what that's starting to show. Like, Ilya's starting to crack and show his feelings a little bit more. I mean, obviously so is Shane. Like, there was a moment when they were together on the couch when it was very clear he was starting to spiral. He was starting to freak out. I squealed on the inside. I didn't, want to like startle the people who were in the room with me, but when Ilya called him Shane instead of Hollander, like, there's just that little bit more intimacy showing that they are actually growing and getting closer. I thought that was really important. He's realizing he does in fact want more, and he's not willing to just fuck around. I absolutely loved that they used all the things she said at the end of the episode, how they started with the original song, and I think they played the whole song, or at least close to it, and then it went into that lower note with the club mix of it. And that club mix is so good. I've immediately added that to my playlist. But I just thought that was so effective. It kind of like took the tone down. It was more of a minor key. It was more of a darker tone. Like, things were getting more intense. Things were getting more serious. And so were the things happening in those scenes when that happened. So overall, I really loved this episode. I did think we were going to get some Scott and Kip moments, but now that I think about it, the timeline of this episode was only 2014 to 2016, so I'm kind of guessing maybe in the next episode we're going to pick back up with Scott and Kip and maybe like give a little bit of backstory and then get maybe to 2018, which I believe is a major event for them. If you know, you know. Can't believe there's only 2 episodes left, although they did today announce that there officially is going to be a season 2 and that it's going to be the story of the long game. I think I also saw that Rachel Reed wants to write more books about Shane and Ilya. Anyway, I'm going to lay in bed for a little bit and continue to read The Road to Tender Hearts. Whew, this book is an emotional one. Wow. So it starts out, I mean, honestly, the first chapter starts out with an orange cat. Say less. I loved it. The orange cat is named Pancakes. There's actually a line in the very beginning that it's weird to say that I loved it, that resonated with me. I personally am child-free by choice. And this says, so the whole first chapter was about the cat, Pancakes. And then the last paragraph of the first chapter is, but this isn't a story about cats or even dogs. It's a story about horrible things that happen to people and how on earth anyone can stomach raising children in a world where doom and disaster lurk around every corner. So no, it's not a story about a cat. It's just a story that starts with a cat and it goes from there. Woo! Okay, so I mean, that gives you a little preview. That's on page 10. So that gives you a little preview that this book is heavy. This book is very sad, but it also has some lighter moments, like trying to find hope wherever you can, I guess. The situation, so PJ is one of our main characters, and he ends up taking care of these 2 kids. I'm not going to give a ton of detail because I can already tell I'm going to love this and that you should read this book. So he ends up taking care of these 2 kids, and the reason why these 2 kids need a guardian
I'm actually tearing up just thinking about it. It was so sad. I haven't cried that hard at a book in a long time. It was so incredibly sad and so hard to read. It was kind of like, as the story was going on, you were getting a feeling of like, wait a second, this isn't good. Why did it just take that turn? And it just kept being like, oh God, this is just getting worse and worse. And you think, there's no way, right? Yeah, there is. Just sobbing, just absolutely sobbing. It was so sad. But then once he has these kids, so far from there, it has been sad, but it's been tender, it's been heartwarming. It's giving me the vibes of, there was a movie with Zach Braff and Kate Hudson where I believe they were married and had children, and maybe someone in the family passed away and then they went on a road trip for some reason. And so that movie was like, I cried a lot in that movie, but I also loved it and remember feeling like it gave me hope and also made me think about the importance of keeping your loved ones close and, you know, kind of building your tribe. It's giving me some of those vibes. I'm feeling similar things reading this book as I did watching that movie. So not to say that the storylines are necessarily the same, but it's giving me similar feelings. So I'm going to keep reading this book. Honestly, I don't read a ton of literary fiction, so I'm really happy to be kind of getting in a genre outside of my comfort zone, and that I'm really enjoying this. All right, catch you in the next update. Some updates. I was able to finish The Road to Tender Hearts by Annie Hartnett.
Wow. This book was so sad. Okay, first of all, there's an orange cat named Pancakes who is sort of a side character throughout the book. I was obsessed with Pancakes. Pancakes was my favorite character. Obviously because of Roscoe. You can't see him, he's right here. I'm surprised Roscoe isn't on me right now. He's been extremely clingy because my sister is out of town, and so all of his neediness is just, all on me. What are you looking at? Is there a bug? Oh my god, there is. Oh. It's a ladybug. Okay, well, we'll let him have fun with that. Okay, how do I talk about this book? Very sad, very dark, but yet somehow still wholesome and hopeful. I don't quite understand exactly how that worked. Like, there is so much talk of death. Like, it is about death. The main character, PJ, is a man in his 60s. He is an alcoholic. Him and his wife got divorced some time ago, and she's now with someone else and living with someone else. He had 2 daughters. One of them sadly died on her prom night. So he's really been through it, okay? So PJ has really been through it. And I think I tried to talk a little bit about the 2 children in this story and how they came into PJ's care. It was horrific. I haven't cried that hard reading a book in a little while. And so then you've got PJ and the 2 kids who come into his care, and then PJ's daughter is kind of our main cast of characters along with Pancakes. And let me just say, I absolutely love this cover. I'm obsessed with the color scheme, the art style, everything. I really love this. And so they end up going on a road trip together. That's kind of the core of this. These 4 humans and this cat go together on a road trip. And the storyline behind the cat is that I think it's kind of that he can tell who's gonna die next. I don't think it's necessarily that he causes death. I think he can tell who's gonna die and shows them a little bit of affection right before they die. So throughout this story, the cat is escaping or will go up to certain people that they interact with, at hotels or bars, restaurants, whatever. The cat will kind of go up to certain characters, and then in some freaky ass way, that character dies. Throughout the whole story, so much death. So many deaths, so many freak accidents. They escape death a few times. It's crazy, and I definitely did not expect that in this story. But yet, we have these characters who are just trying to figure their shit out. They're all going through really rough circumstances. They're all just trying to figure out how to cope, and they are trying to figure out how to love and how to be loved. And in that way, it was very heartwarming and sparked some hope. In the end, it was a hopeful message. But wow, what a journey. I did love this. I'm definitely going to keep this book on my shelves, and I would recommend it with the caveat that there's a lot of talk of death. It's not gory death or anything like that. They don't go into details about the person actually dying, but it is mentioned several times, and also all of these characters are grieving in one way or another, and so it's talked about in that way as well. But if you read a lot of literary fiction, I feel like you might kind of be used to that. I don't know, I feel like literary fiction often will hit on really hard and dark topics in ways I'm not expecting. And so this is no exception to that. So I liked it. I cried. I did laugh a few times. Some people said it was really funny. I didn't find it, I wouldn't use funny to describe this book, even though I did laugh a couple of times, just because of the antics that they would get into. Oh, so they were kind of talking about the afterlife and whether they believed in heaven and hell and things like that. And PJ said he doesn't believe in hell. And he said, it doesn't make any sense why the actions over your short lifespan would determine what happens to your soul for the rest of eternity. If you live for 80 years, that's a tiny blip against the scale of eternity. It seems overkill to me to have one short chance when God is supposed to be endlessly forgiving. I thought that was really compelling. It literally made me stop in my tracks and put a tab in the book. Also, there's a scene where Pancakes saves all of their lives, and I started crying on that part too, just because, I mean, I'm picturing Roscoe as Pancakes, and I loved that scene a lot. So all right, editing Hillary popping in just to say a few things and to add a little bit about the Road to Tender Hearts. So I attended the online book club meeting, and Annie Hartnett actually attended that call, and it was really great to hear her inspiration for this book. So first of all, if you read the acknowledgments, she talks about how in March 2020, her family moved into a house and a series of really crazy, horrible things kept happening back to back to back to back. And I think they were there for maybe a year and a half. And just the amount of crazy things that happened to them while they were there, it's outrageous. So they ended up moving to a new house. And she said at first when they moved, she finally felt safe. And then she realized, I'm not safe anywhere, and death can follow you anywhere you go. And that ultimately is what the Road to Tender Hearts is about. That death is just chasing this group of people around on their road trip. So that was fascinating. And she also said that Pancakes was based on a real cat named Oscar. I think maybe in Rhode Island, I can't quite remember where, but Oscar lived in a nursing home for about 10 years and would predict which resident was going to pass away next. Although it wasn't a bad or scary thing, and in fact, it actually helped the nursing home be able to contact the family and know when to start focusing on just making them comfortable and things like that. So Pancakes is based on a real cat named Oscar. And then she also said she met a man who told her he was so sensitive that his wife would cut out stories from the newspaper about children and animals because he couldn't handle it. And so that became something that PJ, the main character, his ex-wife, would do that for him. And so it was sort of the combination of her experience in that house, the man that she met who was too sensitive for the newspapers, and the cat named Oscar who lived in a nursing home. I thought that was so fun to hear. But in general, the book club meeting was so great. So for the first 45 minutes, it was just our book club, and then after that is when the author joined. And so before the author joined, we were sharing like, what did we like? What did we not like? And I think the opinions about this book were pretty varied. Some people absolutely loved it, 5 stars, and some people hated it, or they didn't hate the book, but they hated PJ. A lot of people really hated PJ as the main character. Like, he was a man-child, he couldn't take care of himself, he didn't get help, and so then everyone else around him suffered. I did have some of those feelings while I read it, but at the same time, I didn't get too fired up about it. It might be because I don't have an older man in my life, like a father or a grandfather or anything like that, who is like that, but some people on the call did. Maybe touched a personal note for them. Everyone loved Pancakes. And during the book club meeting, actually, Roscoe showed up on the camera a couple of times. So that was so cute that we had an orange cat in the audience. What else? Some people thought this book was so funny. I actually think from hearing the things that people thought were funny, in retrospect, I was like, oh, that was really funny. For example, they go to a wax museum and one of the kids steals Abraham Lincoln's arm from the wax museum and like hides it in the car, and there's a scene later where a cop is searching the vehicle and reaches under the seat and like touches the arm and gets freaked out. Like, that actually was really funny. And so I loved this book club meeting. I think it made me appreciate the book even more than I did when I read it on my own. There also was a pretty wide consensus that for the most part, everyone who read this book on audio liked it. And then the people who read it with their eyes only were mixed on whether they liked it or really didn't like it. So I just thought that was some fun, interesting bits from the book club meeting that I wanted to share with you before I wrap up this video. So thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you will consider reading The Road to Tender Hearts if it sounds like it's right for you. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.